The Huawei Mate X2 has just been announced.
Oh, this is good.
It's got two huge displays,
Oh, that's a big one.
a quad camera setup, and a design that looks suspiciously similar to a certain other foldable phone.
That's suspicious.
But putting aside the fact that Huawei has changed from creating an actual unique foldable design to just really copying Samsung's homework, the Mate X2 is actually quite an interesting device. So today, I'm talking about it. How it competes with the rumors surrounding the Z Fold 3, if it changes the foldable game, and how it came so close to being the perfect foldable phone.
Huawei doesn't have a whole lot of criteria.
Let's get into it. First off, I just have to say, this is the first time I've ever actually watched a Huawei keynote. And my god, do they just love to jerk themselves off. Look at our phone next to the competition's phone.
Know your fucking place, trash.
And look at how much better ours is. Look at the inside screen with its golden aspect ratio of 8 to 7.1. And don't worry, our phone isn't too wide that it gets uncomfortable in the hand. I don't know what any other sort of phone would be too wide. Our phone... Our phone actually fits perfectly in your hand. And did we mention how much innovation we've done? We've done so much innovation that our phone case's kickstand is actually innovation itself. Oh, I kid you not, they devoted an entire minute and 14 seconds to talking about their innovative cover case that looks pretty much the same as the one Samsung made 6 months earlier. But anyway, once you move past that sticky mess, you might start to compare it to another prominent folding phone in this category, rumoured for release later this year, the Samsung Z Fold 3.
So some smartphones are smartphones.
Exactly.
And while none of its specs are confirmed at the time of making this, the rumours indeed say that the Z Fold 3 will bring new features like an under-display camera and S Pen support. The Z Fold 3 also features wireless charging, something the Mate X2 also doesn't have. And on a more personal note, Samsung software is just more aesthetically pleasing to my eye. However, the Mate X2 claps back with advantages like a so much better outside display with a 21:9 aspect ratio compared to the Z Fold 3's outer display rumoured to stay at the Z Fold 2's 25:9 ratio.
I like your funny words, Magic Man.
This might sound like a subtle difference, but put them side by side with a regular smartphone and you can see that the Mate X2 is much better at being a regular smartphone when it actually needs to be. The Mate X2 also incorporates a unique, innovative tear-shaped folding design that... Oh, sorry, that's the Moto Razr's 2019 keynote. Let me just get that out of there. The Huawei claims will result in a smaller crease, even though hands-on photos show it to still have a crease. But honestly, being more spread out makes me think that it's going to be less noticeable than the Z Fold 3's. Whether the extra space needed to house this design is actually worth it, I will leave up to you. The Mate X2 also has a camera advantage, as it features a quad camera setup pretty much pulled directly from the Mate 40 Pro Pluses, and very similar to the one found on the S21 Ultra, with the same 10 times zoom and ultra-wide macro features being touted. I am very thankful to see this, as the lack of a true flagship camera was one of my biggest complaints with the Z Fold 2. And hopefully with this sort of push, Samsung will incorporate a more feature-packed camera in the Z Fold 3. Now, if you've watched a few of my foldable videos, you'll know that I'm kind of skeptical of them. Trust me, I love seeing the weird and cool phones that come from this technology, but I don't think foldables will ever really make it to the mainstream, just because of their increased price, increased complexity, and them not really featuring a problem that needed to be fixed. So, does the Mate X2 change this? No, it does not. If anything, the Mate X2 has only further revealed to me that the technology for these sort of foldable phones is still not ready. The Mate X2 is estimated to cost about $2,700 US. Going off the fact that the Mate X2 and the Mate 40 Pro Plus feature relatively similar specs, we can start to see that the extra cost alone just to jump up to the Mate X2 is enough to buy the best-selling phone of last year twice. The Mate X2 being priced as high as it does immediately slaps any sort of semblance of this phone becoming mainstream out of the window. Well, that, and there is a couple other downsides. This phone could have been so close to becoming the perfect folding phone, but unfortunately, some key features were left out in the end. Number one, no wireless charging. Now, I mentioned this earlier, and I get that for some of you, this means absolutely nothing.
You have a firm grasp of the obvious.
But for me, it's critical, mainly due to the fact that it's just more convenient to wirelessly charge phones every night. In their presentation, Huawei talked about how they created the Mate X2 to feature a slight wedged shape, resulting in them having enough space to fit the quad camera array in the right side of the phone. Because, as you all know, many foldable phones fail to deliver flagship photography performance. And Huawei was also bragging that this wedge shape allows the phone to achieve a thinness of just 4.4mm on the left side of the phone, while being very comfortable to hold in the right hand, due to the center of gravity being pushed to the right side of the phone. This to me makes no sense, because as soon as you want to hold it in your left hand, the phone is immediately going to become uncomfortable. This is why tablets like the iPad and even Samsung's Tab S's and the Z Fold 2 have a flat design, because it allows it to be held in either hand. Look. I get the whole enough space to fit the camera shtick, but I really think Huawei should have just made a consistently thick device and just sucked up the fact that it's gonna have to have a large camera bump.
You can always be thinner.
I mean, it's gonna be like carrying a big, thick brick in your hand anyway. However, the biggest reason that this is not the perfect folding phone is that it doesn't support Google services. I'm not going to dwell on this point too long, because everyone else has already covered it to death, but no Google services mean that anything I would want to actually use this big screen for, like, I don't know, watching YouTube videos or just using Google Photos, immediately becomes nearly impossible. The Huawei Mate X2 has overall been a microcosm of my overall experience with foldable smartphones. At first, I didn't understand why this was a thing, because there were just other products on the market that seemed to make much more sense. When I looked further into it, however, I started to realize that, hey, this might actually have some legitimately cool and useful features. But then, at the end, it just ended up having too many questionable compromises and problems to be considered a fully realized product that I can actually recommend that people buy. Thank you for coming to my Nerd Talk. If you like what I do, subscribe to be part of the Tomato Tribe. The OnePlus 9 camera looks kinda wrong, and of course, stay strong.